Pop Shop America family, my name is Brittany and I'm here to show you how to paint this Eiffel Tower painting. This video is sponsored by Houston area jeweler I.W. Marks, who provided me with all of the jewelry that I am wearing today. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell so you're notified of all of our upcoming videos. Let's get started. Let's go over the supplies that will be in your kit. This is a canvas that you will receive, but if you would like to use something different than this canvas, you will need to use gesso coating about 2 to 3 times on that substrate. Other supplies you will have cadmium orange, cerulean blue, Viridian cadmium yellow, burnt sienna, and white. Also within your kit, you will receive this palette, 3 brushes, and 3 popsicle sticks that will help you mix your colors. I also have paper towels set to the side. I highly recommend you grabbing yourself some as well. Let's begin by building our color palette. I'm going to apply all of the colors to the color palette. I'm going to start with the white paint and one of the popsicle sticks. Don't forget to close your paint after you've applied it to your palette. Now we're going to open the cadmium yellow. The order of the colors doesn't matter. You just want to get the paint on the palette first. The next color I'm going to apply will be Viridian green. Next, we will apply the Cerulean blue. Put a generous amount within one of the slots, and then use your paper towel to remove the excess paint. And now we're going to open the cadmium orange. The last and final color we will apply to the palette will be burnt sienna. And I'm going to continue with my canvas, and we're going to build out the colors on our palette. Grab another popsicle stick, use the cadmium orange, and place it in the center, and then also get some of the cerulean blue, grabbing your largest brush and put that in the center of your palette as well. Mix a little bit of the orange with the cerulean blue. You will want to mix this until the colors make a neutral brown. If you would like to make it a little bit browner, you can apply a little bit more of the blue or a little touch of the burnt sienna. Now that we've mixed this, we will want to grab our smallest brush, which will be your round brush, and then we are going to dip this in your color and add a horizon line. We're going to add it about 1/3 above the canvas. We're adding this line to have the placement for where we will have the ground within our composition as opposed to the sky. With this painting, you will want to start from the background moving to the foreground. We will want to start with some of the white with using your largest flat brush and a little bit of the blue. I feel I did not get a lot of the white, so I'm going to use the popsicle stick to add more white to the blue that I mixed earlier. After you mix a generous amount, begin to apply this blue to the sky area. You will want to cover the entire sky background surface. If you didn't mix enough paint beforehand, you can mix more as you go. Do keep in mind the color does not have to match 100% with the mixture you made prior. After you've painted the first layer, make sure you paint all the way down to that line that we added in the beginning of the tutorial. You can go over the line, that's not a worry. It's just an idea of placement for us. While we let the top part of the canvas dry, we're going to move down to the bottom portion. After you've cleaned your brush, set it to the side, and we're going to get our smaller brush that is the round brush that's in your kit. Grab a little bit of your white paint and apply it to one of the free spots on your palette. If you have any remaining paint on your popsicle stick, be sure to wipe that off. I would like to mix up more of our neutral color using the cadmium orange and the blue cerulean. After you've mixed the neutral color again, grab a little bit of it and apply it to the white. Also add a little bit of the burnt sienna, just a touch, to the component that you made earlier. I would like this to be a little bit lighter, so I also will add a little more white. Using the color you just mixed, add about ½ inch of space underneath the line that you previously drew out. Bring this color all the way up to the first line that we drew when we began the painting. In the meantime, turn your canvas to the side and also paint the edge for where you just applied this color. This will ensure that our canvas is perfectly ready to hang on the wall as soon as we finish our painting. After you did this first color, wipe off your brush, and then we will begin with the color that will be below this section here. Grab a little bit of the Viridian green, apply it to your palette. Don't forget to wipe off the excess. Next, we will add a little bit of the cadmium yellow. If you have ran out of white paint like I have, add some more to your palette and add that to the green mixture you made. Grab a touch more of your white. The color we are going for is a yellow green. After you've mixed your color, apply that to the bottom layer of your canvas. If your sky is not completely dry, it is okay because we do want some of that blue layer showing through. The next thing we're going to do is get a little bit more of your white paint, add it to a free spot you have on your canvas, and also grab a little bit more of that neutral color we mixed previously. The color you will want to go for is a muted white or light gray. Begin to add this color to your background. I would add it sporadically in sections because we will add white in between. I would highly recommend adding sporadic brush strokes in all directions when you're applying it to the base layer. While you're painting the background, mix a little bit of the gray with the white. Using these two colors, we will be alternating between the two. I would best describe what I'm doing as a push and pull between the light, the dark, and some of the gray. After you've added enough white to your sky area, begin to mix in some of the white paint with that blue that you had earlier. We're going to make this a really light blue and begin to apply that in sections of your painting as well, the sky painting. And what we're going to do next is mix a little bit more of this color. So grab a little bit more of your white paint if you've run out and apply that to your palette again. And also what I'm going to do is just take a little dab and place it in the color we're going to mix up again. Grab a little bit more of your cadmium orange. Oops, a little bit of the green, but that is okay. We'll just wipe that down on the palette. Grab your paintbrush. Mix a little bit more of that neutral color. With this mixture, we're going to have it be a little bit more orange as opposed to blue. Apply that to your white paint. And then we're also going to get another touch of the cadmium orange and another touch of the burnt sienna. Now this is the overall color we would like to use. However, I do want to add a little bit more white. But in order for me to do that, I would like to add it in this section here. So I'm just going to use the extra paper towel I have, bunch it up, and just remove away some of the excess paint that we have on the palette. Taking this color, I'm going to add it here, remove the excess on the brush, get a little more white paint, and mix it in. This color is going to be a little bit warmer than this neutral tone here. So with the warmer color, begin to add that into your sky as well. Do it sporadically in certain areas. Grab a little bit more of the white and add that into the mixture again and begin to add that. So what we're doing now is adding a little bit of warmth to our sky. If you happen to get a color that you didn't want within your mixture, it is okay. Grab a little bit of your paper towels and just remove it. If you scraped away some of the color, that's fine. You just have to paint it back in. In some areas of the painting, I will apply a little bit more paint, such as the white, just where I would like it to not show some of the blue in the background. So what we are going to do next is, if you still have some of that mixture of the green, we're going to add a little bit more yellow to it. But if you don't, just remember that we mixed it using the Viridian and the yellow. The color we're going for is more of a yellow green. So we're going to take this mixture and we're also going to add a little bit of white to it just to mute the tone. Makes it like almost like a, what is the color they call chartreuse? After you've done that, begin to apply that on top of the green. Yeah, that's exactly right. In this area, when you meet the line for where the pavement will touch the grass, blend out the two colors. After you've added this next color on top of the grass, go ahead and grab your paper towel and remove the excess paint. Set this brush over to the side and then grab your small flat brush. Next, we will get a little bit more white and add that into this lighter brown color that we made earlier. We will apply this to the pavement area. Do blend this upwards into the sky. If your paint is still a little wet from the areas that you've added into the sky, it is fine. It will allow you to blend a little bit easier. But if it has dried, what you can do is use a little bit of the white and apply that next to where the line is for where the pavement is, and then begin to work that color downwards into the pavement. Why we're doing this is to add a little bit more of atmospheric perspective, which can be classified as when you see something outside, everything further away is a little bit fuzzy, where everything a little closer to where your eye is has more distinction and sharpness. I feel like atmospheric perspective is like the hardest thing to explain because it's a science. It's the water droplets in the sky that affects how you see it. When your sky is completely dry, you can add a little bit more white to cover the blue. I'm also going to add just a touch of that brown that we had mixed up earlier. Okay, so this is perfect for the sky. Let's go ahead and move on to the trees. And if you do need some water, go ahead and use that to clean off your paintbrush as well too. Using the green color that you had mixed earlier, grab a little bit of the remaining white you have and make a really light green. I'm using the remaining space that I have because I like to use the paint I have and just add different colors that I might need. So this will be a really light green. So what I am going to do is make a diagonal line and then replicate that same line going across on the opposite end. Begin to just feather out a shape, and this will be our bushes. You don't have to cover all of the colors completely. We're just going to do the top areas. I'm going to let this dry for a minute and then we will return back and begin our Eiffel Tower. Now that the sky has had some time to dry, let's continue on with the Eiffel Tower. Grab your small round brush and then grab the neutral color that we made earlier using the cadmium orange and the cerulean blue. So put one hand here and one hand on the opposite end of the canvas and bring it in. This will be the center line for where the Eiffel Tower will be. We will want to add a little dot here, and then also we will want to add one dot here and measure with your hands. These will be our placements for where we will have the bottom of the Eiffel Tower as well as the top point. Draw a curved line all the way up to the top line and do the same on the other end here. This can be a really faint line also. If you need to erase any of the lines, you can dip your brush in your water, clean it off, and do not remove any of that excess water. The excess water will be used as if we were using an eraser. Go over the line if you have one that you're not happy with and lightly dab. You would just repeat this process over and over until the line is removed, or you can paint over it. So I will continue on with adding the details for the Eiffel Tower. On the other side of the first line, mimic the same line that you made earlier. Grab a little bit of your water if your paint is drying and apply that water into the paint. Next, we're going to make the arch that's under the Eiffel Tower. So we are going to add it about 1.5 inches up and make an arc. Add a heavier line here, which would be the inside area of the Eiffel Tower. This water is my best friend. Next, we will begin to define the lines a little, going upwards. Next, go up about 1 inch from where the arc is and draw a line across. Go up 1/2 inch and draw another line across. And connect those two lines on each side. Then we will add a darker line here and darker line here, and then do a line across. It's about 2 inches up from where you've done the other two lines. Go up another 1/2 inch, add another line across, have a slanted stroke going into the Eiffel Tower, and then replicate the same on the other end. Then 1/2 inch up, add another line, and then connect each side. Before continuing on, if you would like to make adjustments, do that now. I would like to make the Eiffel Tower area a little bit more narrow. So about 1/2 inch from this area, that's your outer line, add another dot and do the same on the opposite end. This will be the outside edge of the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, that's good. Just adjustments before I move on, then we'll be good to go. But see, like, it's so funny because you can just get a, because it's not dry all the way, and then you can just paint over that if need be. Crew drawing. Sometimes things need to be adjusted, but I think we adjusted and then we'd go back and everything as artists, but a lot of people don't think that we do. They think we get it right 100%, and we don't. Make a lot of adjustments along the way. Just dab, 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 dab. If you would like to get the exact distance on the left to the right, turn your brush to the side, see where the end is, and then you can see this is where it ends here. I am adding a darker line on the inside of the Eiffel Tower. Grab a little bit more water on your brush with a little bit of that neutral color and begin to fill in this portion of the Eiffel Tower. Essentially, I'm kind of glazing with water, like the shadow. Add the point to the Eiffel Tower. I would say this is about 1 inch, but what we're going to do is add 2 more lines. So this is our rough sketch of the Eiffel Tower before we begin to fill in the details. If your paint is still wet and you can remove some of it, dip that paper towel in the water and just remove some of the extra lines if it's still wet. If you can't remove all of it, we'll just move on to the next step. Grab your smallest flat brush, dab it in a little bit of water, And then we will add it back into our neutral mixture. If you need to make more, do so. We will use the flat end and draw a line in the center of the Eiffel Tower areas. If you do see any areas you would like to clean up, mix a little bit more of the background color and just paint over those lines, which I'm going to do very lightly. Grab a little bit more water on your brush with a little bit of that neutral color and begin to fill in this portion of the Eiffel Tower. Using your small flat brush again, begin to use the edge to make lines across the Eiffel Tower only on the left side of the line you have drawn. Keep in mind, these don't have to be perfect as well. Using the same motion, make the lines going downwards where the other lines are crossed. If you have a little too much paint on your brush, use your paper towel to pinch the end and pull lightly, and it will make the brush really flat. And dab that area in a little bit more paint. And now we're going to go in the opposite direction. So now we're making the cross hatches. So clean your brush off, get a little bit of the light neutral if you still have it on your palette, and begin to add lighter areas on the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to add a line across here. I'm also going to go over this top line. Also going to go over the arc a little. Mix up a little bit of a lighter neutral and add that here to the top. We're also going to add a line here. If it's not light enough, just get mainly white and touch in that area. So these are the highlights that we're adding on the Eiffel Tower. Now get a little more white with this neutral color and just a touch of the green, light little touch, and mix that into the neutral. Then we're going to use the edge of the brush again and add lines across here. Using that same color, begin to add lines up and down as well, in between the previous lines you've added. So what I'm doing is starting at the bottom of the previous line and going across to the other line that we've just drawn. Then begin to cross hatch across. Don't forget to clean your brush. And we're going to go into that neutral brown, dab your brush in a little water, and fill in this area down here. And fill in a shadow here, and also in this portion as well. Let's continue on and begin to add definition to our bushes below. What we are going to do is mix in a little bit of the Viridian green, some of the Cerulean blue, and a little touch of white. I have a lot of paint on my brush, so I'm going to use a paper towel and just remove the excess. Then scrub in a little bit of shadow for the trees. We're just adding a little bit of definition for the trees. Then I will grab a little bit of that brown and add this shadow below, and then work that upwards into the green. This part does not have to be perfect. This will be our shadow area. Clean your brush. Get a little bit more of that sky mixture with more white within that color, and add that on the edge of where the bushes are. After you've done that, get a little bit more of white with that green that you had earlier. Mix these two colors together and begin to add that on top of the bushes. Grabbing one of your dry, clean brushes, blend out the areas that you just added. Clean your brush again. And since I still have the color mixture for where the pavement is, I'm just going to add a little bit more. Just take a dab of water and a little bit of that paint, and I'm just gonna bring up the edge. So the reason I'm doing this is because where the trees are, or the bushes are, I'm bringing it up where that's the edge. I'm also going to add a dab of white and just go over the wet parts. This is just adding a little highlight. After you've done that, grab a little more of the white paint in that neutral brown and mix those together. Get a dot of the yellow and add that as well. This is making a lighter, almost like a beige. So this will be the color of our buildings in the background. So with this portion, you can go a little bit crazy. It does not have to be perfect. I'm going to get a little excess paint off of my brush and just begin to add lines of where I would want to have a building. Once you've done that, use your brush from the top of the line going in a downwards motion. Clean another brush if you don't have any that are clean. Remove the excess water, and we're going to use this brush to fuzz out the area we just drew at the top for the buildings. Then if you still have some more of the neutral color, or don't, we can mix more. Add the cadmium orange and a little bit of the cerulean blue. And in this color where you're going to get a little bit of the white, and this is going to make a more muted neutral color. This will be the edges of where the buildings are. Put a little bit of white on your brush. We're just going to lightly add a line that will be the top of the buildings. I'm also going to add a little shadow here, and a little window. Don't forget to blend in this color a little. We'll get some more of the green with the white and add bushes. I'm also going to add a bush here. If you see an area where you feel, oh, I could have a little bit more color there, do that. Now that we have that added, we're going to move on to the trees in the foreground. Get a little bit of the cadmium orange and begin to draw an outline. So with your tree, it can be however you would prefer it to be. I would like to add a placement here for the top, and then you can just begin to add dots or do a scrumbling edge. So it's almost like a dry brushing effect that you're using. So if you remembered at the beginning of the video, I mentioned we were starting at the back of the canvas and moving forward. We are finally in the portion where we're in the foreground. So you can apply heavy paint layers here. I will use this smaller brush, and then I will move into using the bigger brush. If you would like, you can mix up a lighter orange as well. Grab a little bit of the white and mix that in and have a light orange. And that's what I'm going to do just to add variation. Because we're doing trees, leave a little bit of the blue showing. You don't want to cover it completely. Where the Eiffel Tower is, I will add a little bit more paint. And then after you've added enough orange, we're going to still do that push and pull effect, but we're going to start with the yellow. You don't have to clean your brush off, just go straight into adding and applying the yellow directly to the canvas. The colors will mix a little because the paint is still wet, and that's perfectly fine. Don't forget to leave a little bit of the blue showing in the background. I would like to mix up a lighter yellow now. And that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to add the yellow and then add a little bit of the white. If you do get a little bit of the brown in it, it's fine as well because you do have brown leaves a little, but it made more of a darker yellow. So I'm going to mix a little bit of the burnt sienna in with my orange for the bottom area of the trees. Now we're going to add the tree trunk. We're going to get a little bit of the burnt sienna and mix that in our dark neutral color. We will start in the tree and work our way down. So I'm adding a little bit of a curve. So if your hand naturally just moves, that will be perfectly fine. And then before I put any more paint on my paintbrush, I'm going to use the excess paint to begin to do branching off. If you do need to pinch the brush even with your fingers, you can still do that just to get it at a sharper edge and begin to make branches. If you would like to use the round brush, you can still use that as well to make your branches. Next, using the same small brush, add a small tree in the background. I would stop here where the pavement meets the grass and then begin to add light branches going upwards, just really faint branches. After you've done that, grab your flat brush Mix in white with a little yellow, a little touch of yellow, and we're going to just dab a little for the yellow leaves in the background. Vary the colors from a light yellow to a very colorful yellow without any white in it. Now that you still have the yellow on your brush, just begin to add a little bit of dots that will be the leaves falling. You can have like strokes as well too. Clean your brush, and if you still do have this neutral color, dab your brush in that and make another angle. Turn it to the side. We're gonna go directly slanted from the pavement all the way down to the edge of the canvas. As you go down and go over the definition of the line, make it a little bit thicker closer to the bottom. We're gonna repeat that same action on the opposite end. Now, we are going to mix up that neutral color again. If you don't have any more on your palette, I need more blue, so I'm gonna get some of that Cerulean. And I will begin to add another tree. Start from the top and work your way down. Using the smaller round brush, begin to add the branches. These can cover the Eiffel Tower as well. Now we're going to add more yellow leaves on the left side. I'm mixing a little bit of the white with the yellow as well too, to make variation in color. I'm going to add the orange, grab a little bit of the white, and mix that in and have a light orange. After you've added the leaves to your tree on the left, begin to add little touches of leaves at the bottom of the trunk. This will be the fallen leaves that have fallen off the tree. While you're doing this, you can have really fast strokes, and it doesn't have to be precise or anything like that. You're just adding the strokes for where the leaves have fallen. Just do whatever feels right. I will say if you are adding leaves further back, they will be a little bit smaller and less defined as opposed to the ones that will be closer to you in the foreground. The last and final step we will do will be to add a little bit of shadow. So grab a little bit of your Viridian, and we're going to add this neutral tone to that green. But after you do your mixture, dip your brush in a little water. You can tap off the little excess and then add the shadow downwards. If you do have too much pigment, just dab that on your paper towel and continue to add that shadow, moving downwards. I added a little too much when it got further away from the tree, so I'm just using my finger to remove the excess. And since we did go and paint over our leaves, just dab your brush back into the yellow and paint over. If you would like to add the shrubbery, you can add the shrubbery. I'm actually going to switch brushes, so I will use the smaller brush. You can use the same color in the background, which is the Viridian. I am adding 3 in the neutral because 3 or any odd number really looks better when it comes to painting. Don't forget to add the same amount of shrubbery on the opposite end. I'm just making sure I am lining it up, so I'm using this bush as a guide and going all the way across. And that is our final step.